A mixed sugar in B's food, knowing it to be arsenic. Arsenic is a poison. B did not take that food. What offense has A committed? A tricky question. What do you say? What offense has been committed? Nothing has, there is no consequence, nothing has happened. B did not take that food. Yes, Shruti says B is guilty for attempt to murder. Josna also, Smitha also, everyone thinks that yes, it is attempt to murder. All right. Let's see the first line itself. A mixed sugar in B's food, knowing it to be arsenic. What does it mean? Was it arsenic or was it sugar? What was mixed? Knowing it to be arsenic. Knowledge, yes. So, what was actually mixed in food? Sugar or arsenic? Himanshu says sugar, Smita says arsenic. So, here we have difference of opinion. What was actually mixed in the food of B? Yes, Shruti, sugar. Okay. Jyotsna also says arsenic. So, yes, clear difference of opinion. A mixed sugar in B's food. From here, if we read the first part, A mixed sugar in B's food. There is no ambiguity. What was mixed? Sugar. Knowing it to be arsenic. Here there is, I think, this knowing, the word knowing is creating a confusion and it is wrongly used here. In my view, it should be believing. A mixed sugar in B's food, believing it to be arsenic. A believed it to be arsenic, actually it was sugar. What A actually mixed in B's food was sugar, but he believed it to be arsenic. He thought that it was arsenic. So it is not knowing it to be arsenic. It should have been believing it to be arsenic. His belief was wrong. Knowing means he knew it, but he did not know it. Did not know it. He only believed it to be arsenic. Actually, it was sugar. So now the answer to the question as to what was mixed, the answer is sugar was mixed, not arsenic. A mixed sugar in B's food, believing it to be arsenic. That's how it should have been correctly worded. All right, but taking this as the true statement, what is mixed is sugar. How do you say that mixing of sugar will amount to attempt of murder? He has mixed only sugar. It is a different matter whether B did not take, even if B had taken the food, he would not have died, nothing would have happened because what was mixed was sugar only. So the second part does not matter. The second sentence, B did not take that food, is immaterial. Even if he had taken the food, the consequence would remain the same. What was mixed is sugar. So yes, IUC says it should be the intention. It is the intention of the person which is relevant, not the act. Josna says is knowledge used in that interpretation is knowledge and intention. No, knowledge you forget. This I think is wrongly used. Let's take it that he believed it to be arsenic. Actually, he mixed sugar. Mixing of sugar, the act is mixing of sugar. Intention is to mix arsenic. His intention was to murder. Yes, Shruti, you are right. Intention was to murder. So, will that be enough? And he believed the substance to be poison. That also is correct. If the same had been arsenic, it would have resulted in murder. No, it would not have resulted in murder because B did not take that food. So, even if it was arsenic, it would not have resulted into murder because B did not take that food. But yes, we will say that it was an attempt to murder. Now, if arsenic was mixed in the food with the intention to kill B, it is clearly a case of attempt of murder. There would have been no two opinion on that. If what was actually mixed was arsenic, it would have been an attempt to murder. But in this case, actually, what is mixed is sugar, not arsenic. What was actually mixed is sugar. Yes, the intention was to commit a murder. All right. So different opinions. Say for external factors. What is the external factor here, Shruti? What is the external factor? That B did not take the food. Okay, if I change this situation and say B took the food, then what? If I change the factual situation and say that B actually took the food, then will it change? Then it will also remain attempt to murder? Alright, so let's analyze the offense a bit more carefully. The offense to commit murder, attempt to murder. 307, this is the section, attempt to murder. Whoever does any act, so an act is done with the intention or knowledge. Intention or knowledge is important. As Josna was asking, yes, intention or knowledge is relevant. And under such circumstances that if by that act he caused death, he would be guilty of murder. Now, if he had mixed arsenic and if B had not taken the food, then clearly it is a case of attempt to murder because A did whatever he could do. The external factor was that B did not take the food, and if external factor was not there, then A's act would have caused death of B. It would be a clear case of attempt to murder. If by that act he caused death, what is meant by that act? The expression does an act with such intention or knowledge and under such circumstances that if he by that act caused death, he would be guilty of murder simply means that the act must be done with the intent or knowledge requisite for commission of the offense of murder. So here what the court is saying, this is taken from a judgment of the court which says that the act must be done, whatever is the act must be done with the intent or knowledge requisite for commission of the offense of murder. What section 307 really means is, this is again taken from a judgment, Emperor versus Vasudev Balwant Gogde. What section 307 really means is that the accused must do an act with such a guilty intention and knowledge and in such circumstances that but for some intervening fact, the act would have amounted to murder in the normal course of events. But for some intervening fact, the act would have amounted to murder. This is what is required under 307. Here there is a basic infirmity. What is the basic infirmity? What was actually mixed was not arsenic but sugar. So under no circumstances this act could result in murder. I say under no circumstance this act of mixing sugar in one's food could result in murder. This is an inherent lacuna or defect in the act. The act was not capable of causing murder under any circumstances. The act of mixing sugar was incapable of causing murder under any circumstances. Will we still call it as attempt of murder? So the answer is difficult. We take support from section 511 to answer this question. If you remember 511, attempt to commit any offense. That's the general definition of attempt. What is attempt? You will find that under section 511, two illustrations are given. What are the two illustrations? There is one person who thrusts his hand into the pocket of another, and that pocket is empty. So his act is incapable of causing any theft. Similarly, if you break open somebody's box and if the box is empty, will it amount to attempt? (511) says that the very act of thrusting the hand into the pocket, even though the pocket was empty, or the very act of breaking open the box, even though the box was empty, will amount to attempt to commit an offense of theft. Taking analogy from there, now the act of breaking open the box was incapable of causing the offense of theft. Why? Because the box was empty. The act of thrusting the hand into the pocket of another person was incapable of committing theft because the pocket was empty. So the act done by the offender was inherently incapable of causing the offense, and yet section 511 says that it will amount to attempt. If under 511 those acts amount to offense, taking analogy from there, we can say that under section 307, this act of mixing sugar with the intention of causing death could also amount to attempt to murder. That could be one interpretation. And the other interpretation is that since the act is inherently incapable of causing murder, therefore it can never lead to murder, and therefore where is the question of attempt to murder? These are the two differing interpretations or answers. For our purpose, we have to choose one because we are just a student and we have to give an answer. So what answer will we give? Let's see the options again. A has committed no offense. A is guilty of assault. A is not guilty of assault. A is guilty of attempt to murder. Josna has opted B, yes. As a prudent student who wants to clear an examination, you have to choose an option which most examiners would like to hear and accept. IUC also says D. And okay, Mansu also says attempt to murder. I will also say attempt to murder. I agree with you. As far as our examination is concerned, we will not take any chances. We will choose that path which is least controversial, more acceptable. This is how normally people think. We are also taking support from section 511, which says that thrusting a hand into an empty pocket will amount to attempt of theft. So here also mixing of sugar, though it is inherently incapable of causing the offense which is in contemplation of the offender, even then we will say since his intention is there and he does an act, we will say it is an attempt to murder.